Sean Antle for a truck engine and repair costs.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Hello, Judge. Case number 2022, Greniger versus Antle.
Thank you. Mr. Greniger, how long have you and the defendant been friends?
I've known Sean probably maybe 3 or 4 years now.
From where?
He lives about 3 blocks away from me. I've met him through another friend that told me he worked on his vehicles before.
You did mechanical work?
Yes.
What kind of business are you in?
Construction, you name it, anything construction.
And you have a couple of trucks?
Yes.
How many?
I have one commercial vehicle and then I just have a Chevy Avalanche.
The commercial vehicle, would you describe it to me? That's the one he was supposed to work on?
Yes.
Describe it to me, please.
It's a 16-foot box truck.
How old?
97.
1997.
Yes, ma'am.
It's as old as Sarah. And I suppose it needed a little work.
Yes.
And you took it to your friend.
Yes.
Did you drive it over there to his house 2 or 3 blocks away? Did you have it towed over to his place?
We had to have it towed over there. It was operable before.
But you had it towed?
Yes.
Yeah. And what month and year did you have it towed there?
I believe this started in June of 2020.
And Mr. Antle, you looked at it and you determined it needed a new engine.
Well, I looked at it. Actually, I did some work prior to that. The intake manifold gasket was...
You mean before June of 2020?
Yes.
And then the truck was running? Then he took back...
Running very crappy.
So it was not running well even after you fixed it?
After I put the intake gasket on, I had it started, it made the same noise. We decided to put an engine in it.
Okay, so it wasn't working after the initial work you did on it?
No.
Decided to put an engine in it. Now, how much was it to work on the engine?
He gave me a little bit of money here, a little bit of money there. It was not all in one lump sum.
How much did he give you?
It was 100 here once, 100 here twice, a couple different times, you know.
How much money did you give him?
800.
How much did you quote him for the whole job?
1,000.
So he gave you 800, and according to the papers that Mr. Greniger filed, he also purchased an engine.
Yes.
And this was in June of 2020.
I didn't get the motor at my house until, like, I'm trying to think. It was in the winter, it was in December.
Of 2020?
Yes, 2020, yep.
Do you have the date that you purchased the engine?
Yes.
What was it?
January 7th, 2021.
Okay, so the truck sat on his property for 6 months.
Yes.
Before you got the engine, which was needed to fix it.
Yes. He said it was the intake plenum.
Was that in June of 2020?
Yeah, that's when it began. That's the whole...
Okay. When did he tell you that you needed an engine? In what month? Do you recall?
That was in January.
So the truck sat there, and finally you told him that it needed a new engine, but it was already sitting there for months.
I told him like 2 or 3 months prior to that.
Okay, so it was sitting there for 3 months or 4 months?
Yes.
And he'd already paid you the $800?
He gave me a little bit here and there, yes.
They already paid you the $800 towards the $1,000. So this is what the case is about. The truck has never been fixed. He doesn't have the engine anymore. He scrapped the engine, according to him. Yes. So you want what you paid for it, the engine.
Yes, Your Honor.
First of all, Mr. Ansel said, well, he worked on another truck for you, a smaller truck, and so that ate up the $800, and you didn't come for the engine, and finally he just sold it for scrap. Mr. Antle, were you very busy during this period of time?
Not really, no.
Well, could you tell me why it took 3 months for you to tell him that he needed a new engine?
He knew after I put the plenum gasket back on. I called him on the phone.
What month?
It had him in November, right before Thanksgiving.
So at the end of November. So you had the truck since June. Yeah. June, July, August, September, October. You had the truck 6 months. Could you tell me why?
Why? I had problems with it. I couldn't get the bumper off. I couldn't do none of that.
Well, but that's your responsibility. You undertook a job.
Yeah, I took the job because he was supposed to help me, and he never did.
He was supposed to help you put in the new engine?
Help me get the bumper off, and then I had problems with the city of Brooklyn Center.
No. He was supposed to help you get the bumper off, and because you couldn't get the bumper off, you couldn't do the engine. Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, because it was rusted solid.
Shh. I assume, I've read your papers, I assume this is the mechanic that you say helped you work on another car for him that you gave money to?
Yes.
Okay, so that's why he's here?
Yep.
Okay. In what month and year did you fix this other car?
January...
Of 2021?
2022.
So in January 2022, the truck was where?
The Avalanche.
The big one?
At his house. At Mike
And he
Gringer's.
brought you another truck?
Yes,
Which other truck did he bring you in?
Chevy Avalanche.
The big truck, the commercial truck, is now back at his house.
Yes,
And it went back to his house because they were going to tow it from the city.
yes,
And you say in January, he then brought you a different truck
yes, of 2022.
that you worked on.
Yeah, completed it.
Just a second. Do you recall that, sir?
No, it's not exactly how it went.
Did you, in January of 2022, did you bring him, you had the big commercial truck back at your house because it had to be moved.
Yep.
You hadn't gotten your $800 back,
Nope.
and he still had the engine
Yep.
in January of this year.
Yep.
So, yep is not an answer, yes is
sorry.
an answer. So, why, sir, under those circumstances, would you bring him another car to fix? You have a driver's license?
It's currently suspended.
How long has it been suspended, Mr. Gruniger?
About a year now.
Now, why is that? Have you had accidents in the past? Yes.
Yes.
Yes, serious ones. Yes.
Michael Griniger claims truck mechanic Sean Ansel owes for a truck engine and repair costs. Sean is countersuing, claiming Michael filed a false police report against him.
Now, you hadn't gotten your $800 back,
Nope.
and he still had the engine
Yep.
in January of this year.
Yep.
So, yep is not an answer, yes is
sorry.
an answer. So, why, sir, under those circumstances, would you bring him another car to fix?
Because then I had absolutely no transportation. I needed something to work.
Just a second. You have a big truck, you had a little truck. So, the big truck is now immobile, it's at your house. And the only working vehicle that you had needed work on it.
Yes.
So,
yeah.
you brought it to him,
Yep.
not yep.
Ups.
That's
Yep.
yes.
Yes.
And he worked on it
Yes.
because it was inoperable.
No, it was operable, but he told me that.
Not he told you. You didn't bring it to him because he told you you were having trouble with it.
Yes.
What kind of trouble were you having with it?
There was a grinding.
Oh, that's a
sound.
big deal. Grinding sound.
Yes.
What parts did it need?
Well, he told me it was the transfer case.
Did he fix your truck?
Eventually, but it was the rear end.
Just a second. Eventually, did he fix, take your hands out of your pockets, did
was
he
both.
fix the truck? The second one? The smaller one?
yeah.
The one that you needed for
Yes,
transportation?
eventually, yes, he did put in a rear end.
Okay. Did you pay him for that?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
How much did you pay for that?
$300.
How long did he have it?
Oh, he did that within about a week.
2 days. 2 days.
Okay. So it took you 2 days?
Yes.
Did you give him a bill for that work?
I didn't give him nothing. Just a word of mouth.
He says that he gave you $300 to fix that car. Did he give you $300 to fix that car?
No, he did not.
Okay, do you have any
600
proof?
altogether.
Just a second. Would you please show me any proof that you have that you gave him $300 to fix that car?
I don't have proof of the money that I gave him.
Don't have it.
I just have the receipt.
He doesn't got it.
Shh.
Okay.
I just have the receipts for the parts that I bought for the vehicle. He
Okay.
first said it was the transfer case. I buy a transfer case.
Doesn't matter. He's working, so.
Yeah, but I paid him to do something. He took something apart of the truck. It wasn't even the problem. But yet I still
this I
paid
don't
him for
understand.
it.
But this, quite honestly, I don't
And then I
understand.
paid him
sir.
for the rear end too.
I don't understand a couple of things.
Okay.
If I've been disappointed by a workman, as you clearly were, from June 2020 until January 2022, because they hadn't completed a job for you, despite the fact that you purchased the part, I wouldn't call that same mechanic back. I wouldn't call that same plumber back. I wouldn't call that same electrician back because I'd had a bad experience with them. So it confounds me as to why you would take another vehicle to him if you were so dissatisfied with his work. Wanna answer?
Understandable.
Yeah. Well, so why?
Felt like I was in, in a tight spot, and I really couldn't
What kind of
afford.
tight spot were you in? Where do you live?
I live in Minneapolis.
Minneapolis, that's a big town. There are lots of mechanics there. There are lots of auto repair, truck repair.
Yeah, but I really financially couldn't afford, legitimate.
Well, that's what happens when you deal with a legitimate. But I don't understand why an otherwise intelligent man would take his only semi-operating vehicle to the same person who had his truck for a year and didn't fix it. Listen, what'd you do with his engine?
I scrapped it.
Okay. Don't be mad at me.
Huh?
Don't be mad at me.
I'm not. I love you.
Okay, good. Thank you. When did you scrap it?
The end of April. of 2022.
Did you give him any notice that you were going to scrap his engine?
No, I did not. There's a false police report made against me.
Okay.
I have the case number and the officer's number.
Okay, just a sec. So you retaliated because that's your counterclaim, that he filed a false police report, as a result of which, and the false police report said that during the course of a heated argument about this truck, that he says that you pulled a gun and
Did not.
filed a police report.
No, I didn't.
Joe?
You did.
Prove it. You can't.
Mr. Rantel. And that's your counterclaim, that he filed this false police report and nothing ever came of it except you were embarrassed by being questioned by the police in front of family members.
Yes.
And as a result of that false police report, you threw away his motor.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, well, you can't do that. That you can't do. How much did you pay for the motor, sir?
$690 plus I paid $100 for delivery of the motor.
I'd like to see the invoice for that.
I got the invoice for the motor, but
That's
not...
all I need.
Okay.
Thank you. So, Mr. Rantel, so that we're clear, you have to understand you can't get even by selling somebody else's property.
I didn't
What you
sell
do?
it. I didn't sell it. I
Scrap.
gave it away.
It doesn't matter. By disposing of. Let's make it disposing of. When you say you scrapped it, you mean nobody gave you $10 for it?
Not a dime.
Okay, then you can't give it away in retaliation
Why
for
not?
this filing.
Why not? It was in my possession.
No, because you took.
Try to put me in jail for not
just a
something I
second.
didn't do.
Just a second. I'm speaking. I'm speaking. You cannot sell someone else's property in retaliation for them doing something to you when you have legal recourse. Your legal recourse is to come here and file a case. You did it as a counterclaim and say he filed a false police report against me that I was using a gun. So that's what you do. The response to that isn't, I'm going to sell his property. That's not your response. You know, when I used to sit in family court, I had young people, one of whom was selling drugs for a very long time, heavy drugs. Kid, 15, 16 years old. And he had 6 or 7 priors for selling heavy-duty drugs. And I tried that case, and there was no question he was selling drugs. And his lawyer's argument at the disposition stage of that case was he was selling drugs because his grandmother died. I said, I lost all my grandparents, and I was close to my grandparents. I did a lot of things. I grieved, lost my appetite for a while. I was sad, but I didn't sell drugs. So when somebody does something to you that you believe is against the law, your responsibility is you file a case against them.
Right.
You proceed legally against them. You don't take it out in another way, because that doesn't make a civilized society. Just doesn't. That makes sort of a vigilante kind of thing. So you shouldn't do that. So you have to pay him for his engine. Now, as far as the second piece of your case is the $800 that you gave him, I have no idea how much it was to fix your second car, but he did in fact fix it. And since you had no particular agreement with him on how much it was, and according to you, you couldn't deal with someone, you didn't have the funds to deal with someone who was, I think the word was legitimate.
Legitimate.
That's a problem that I can't resolve for you. Now let's get to this argument and his counterclaim. The argument that you had was over the truck.
The white truck? Yes.
Any truck. I don't care what.
Yes.
Truck. I'm not a truck girl myself. I like 4-door comfortable sedans. And this argument took place on what date? Why don't you tell me, Mr. Rantel, because this is your counterclaim.
It was the end of April.
End of April of 2022.
Yes.
And the police were called.
No, ma'am.
Yes, the police were called. They showed up at my place.
No, the police report is 7/25/22.
7/25/22.
May I see the police report?
Yes, ma'am. Or, Your Honor.
That's a lie, because it was April.
I'm going to look at it. Just a second. Yeah, time of occurrence, April 22nd, 2022. It was April.
Yeah.
Yes, I got him.
You don't need a truck, you don't need a car. You have no driver's license.
No, ma'am. Me and my son, we work construction together. He drives.
Do you know how old I am? Do you have any idea how old I am? You think that I believe that? It's only going 4 miles an hour.
Michael Griniger is accusing truck mechanic Sean Antle of wrongfully selling his engine and threatening him. Sean claims Michael accused him of flashing a gun he never owned.
Now, I'm going to look at it. Just a second. Yeah, time of occurrence, April 22nd, 2022. It was April.
Yeah.
Yes, I got him.
You have a driver's license?
It's currently suspended.
How long has it been suspended, Mr. Griniger?
About a year now.
What were you doing driving a vehicle?
I wasn't. They were towing the vehicle with a tow chain.
I understand that. But you drive a vehicle, sir.
I was steering the vehicle.
What does that mean, you were steering the vehicle?
Driving it.
The vehicle
Just-
moving at 4 miles an hour.
I don't care if it was
Behind-
running backwards. I just asked you. You have no license because, according to the police, you having a driver's license would be inimical to public safety. That's what it says here. Now, why is that? Have you had accidents in the past? Yes.
Yes.
Serious ones? Yes. Okay. You don't need a truck. You don't need a car. You have no driver's license.
No, ma'am. Me and my son, we work construction together. He drives.
Do you know how old I am? Do you have any idea how old I am? You think that I believe that? I was only going 4 miles an hour. I will set the rules of what it is that means driving. You go 5 miles an hour, it's really not
He lives
driving.
3 blocks away from him. We were just
I don't care.
towing it down the
I
street.
don't care whether you were in the kitchen, he was in the laundry room. And when you spoke to the police, Mr. Griniger, there were 2 other witnesses, and you would not give them the last name or contact information for either of them. Is that right? That's what it says here, unless it's calling
Yeah,
the
I
police
didn't know
lies.
his last name,
And you wouldn't give them your son's name because you say he doesn't like police.
and that I want to make straight. That is not true. I would not tell a police officer my son
It should
doesn't
be
like
noted that
police.
Griniger stated that Michael Jr. would not give a statement because he didn't like police.
Right.
As well as
That's
Griniger
not
would
true.
not
My little
give the
brother's
phone
a
number
police
for Michael
officer.
Jr. I'm just telling you, I'm reading you what
I know, I'm
what
sorry.
you handed me. It's your evidence.
Yep, I'm sorry.
Okie dokie. Did you make an application, Mr. Griniger, for any sort of protective order against him?
No,
No. You were advised by the police that you could do that if you wanted to.
no.
Interesting.
Yeah, that report is interesting.
It was you, your son, and this person, Kyle, who were present, and only Mr. Antel. Is that right, when this confrontation took place?
Yes.
And according to you, you got out of your truck and you started walking towards him aggressively. That's according to you.
That's not
according.
true. He's 40 feet away from me.
No.
I can't hear that well.
According to you, I'm reading you what your police report says, sir.
Yeah, but
I'm reading what your police report says based upon what you told the police at the time back in April.
it's not entirely correct.
Griniger stated that he started advancing towards Antel. Griniger also stated that he called Antel you while he was walking towards him. It should be noted that Griniger stated, and this is all on body cam, that he was walking towards Antel aggressively. Griniger stated that Antel then pulled what he described as a black handgun out of his sweatshirt pocket. He described it as black and silver trim. He stated that he did not point it or say anything, just showed it to him to make you aware that he was carrying. And after the police interviewed both of you and confirmed the 2 people with you were out and you were walking and confronting him aggressively, called his names, and could not confirm the fact that he had a gun, took out a gun, not pointed it to you, just showed you that he had it, they decided to do nothing. That's what you're telling me. That's what this report says.
Yeah, they didn't validate it as a threat.
They did not validate it at all.
Right.
Okay, so, Mr. Rantel,
Yes.
what happened after that report is that police officers came to your house to ask you about that,
Yes.
right? And you said, related practically the same thing that Mr. Griniger did to the police, that he approached you, that he called you a name, that he was aggressive. You said all of that.
Yes.
But you said you did not have a gun.
That's right.
Okay. And this is not meant to hold you criminally responsible for anything. Mr. Antel, have you ever had possession of a gun?
No.
Ever in your life?
No.
Did you ever purchase a gun?
No.
In your state, in order to purchase a gun legally, do you have to go through a process or is it a carry state?
You gotta go through a legal process.
You have to.
Yes.
Okay. Were you ever arrested for carrying a gun?
No.
Other than your statement that he showed you that he had a gun, and how far was he standing from you?
About 40 feet.
40 feet away. And you saw him take something out of his sweatshirt pocket.
He didn't remove it out of his pocket. He removed his hand covering it.
What does that mean?
It was in his pocket. He was wearing a hoodie.
How do you know it was in his pocket? What do you have, X-ray vision?
No, my son seen it because his vehicle was right alongside his vehicle. So my son seen it, and then when he got back in his car and pulled up another 10 feet and got out of his car, turned around and said, yeah, bring it, and a few expletives, and then pulled his hand out of his hoodie pocket and revealed the handle of the gun.
Just a second. So you're saying at that time you saw it?
Yes.
You saw it, not your son
My
40
son
feet
actually
away.
seen it on
Not
the
son
seat
40
of his
feet away.
car.
That's a lie.
But you
And
saw
he reached in and grabbed it and put it in his sweater because when he got back out of the car to face me is when he decided to show me he had a gun.
Okay, were you out of your truck at the time?
Yes, I was standing beside
Okay,
him.
so you were out of your truck. And what about your son? Was he out of the truck?
Nope.
He was in. What about Kylie?
He remained in the truck too. He was the one in front pulling the truck that I was steering, and he was following behind. It was a little convoy.
And Mr. Rantel was by himself?
Yes, he was driving down the street in the opposite direction.
Mr. Rantel, I am not satisfied, quite frankly, and cannot make a determination whether or not you had a gun or what appeared to be a gun or what appeared to be something in your pocket or whether you even moved your hand in your pocket to demonstrate maybe you had a weapon. I don't find that the acts that you allege that he committed by filing this false police report is something that I can justify giving you a financial award for, because I'm not so sure that you didn't have something in your pocket. I'm not sure. In any event, Mr. Rantel, you owe him for the engine that you discarded in a peak. You can't do that. Cost of the engine was $590, right? $590. Judgment for the plaintiff.
Ma'am,
We're finished.
Your Honor.
We're
Court
done.
is adjourned.
I was kind of in a hard spot. I needed my truck fixed.
Try to push me and push me.
I trusted him.
It didn't work today. I won.
Truck is inoperable. It's sitting in my backyard.
I worked for what he gave me.
So I really couldn't afford, like I said, a legitimate shop or a mechanic.
I've never owned a pistol.
Yeah, he's lying.
Basically, if I'm gonna fight, I'm gonna fight with my bare hands.
Don't do anything without any receipts.
Our friendship is through.
You know, it's really hard when you have two difficult people, but there was something about what he said that had the ring of truth to it.
Very honest.
A directness. And I'm really not convinced, were you?
No, I wasn't either.
That he had a gun.
It could have gone either way, and while I believed his outburst of innocence, I couldn't imagine making something like that up, but maybe that's just me. So it was really difficult. I don't think I could have made a determination either way either.
Yeah, and I think the answer is here. If you can't make a decision one way or another, it's not supposed to be a guess. It's supposed to be by some evidence.
Yeah.
But you can't sort of take the law into your own hands, and if he filed a
True.
police report, I'm going to scrap his engine. That's inappropriate. But with regard to the $800 that he paid him, there's no question he worked on the other truck. And he
Even
said he
if
worked on it
didn't
for
have
2
a
days.
license to drive it.
And the plaintiff didn't have a license to drive it anyway.
Yeah.
And Sarah, didn't he say, I needed one functional vehicle? So something like
We'll
that.
have to get Whitney to read it back.
Yeah, I think so. Thanks.
Want justice? Go to judyjustice.tv.
We start arguing at this point, like we're both yelling at each other, it's getting heated. She then tells me that she's going to have some dudes come and beat me up. Gallo, out of nowhere, comes from a corner and tries to swing at me. She then lets these men inside the house. They're banging on my door, talk about bring your outside. All this mess, I immediately got everything that I could, and I booked a hotel at the Westin.
Claim is that during the time that you were in the hotel, there was damage done to the property.
Right.
This is the way you found it.
Yes.
Can you explain these photographs to me?
I can't explain the photographs. I didn't do it.
This is vandalism. Somebody took powder and liquid and broke mirrors. And quite frankly, I don't know this gentleman well, but he does not appear to be psychotic. Do you have any other proof that he caused this serious vandalism of his own house?
I do not have proof that he caused it, but I do have proof I was not there, and
I don't care whether you were not there or not. So I have to decide if it was a stranger, the plaintiff, or this side, maybe not you, but someone acting on your behalf.
And now, the conclusion. Carlos Guillen claims his former roommate, Nigel Pine, and her boyfriend, Gallo Jume, vandalized his property. Nigel is countersuing, claiming Carlos had her falsely arrested.
Okay, so if there is no other proof, what?
May I interject, please?
Sure.
Over the situation that he's trying to say that happened on the 27th, that even led to the whole craziness that we see in the photos over the vandalism, is a lie. And in his police reports, I don't know if he'll show you the police report or anything that happened, details and dictates everything of what the situation is.
May I see the police report?
came to
Do
her-
you have the police report?
She has...
I was not able to get the police report because I am listed as a suspect. I'm not a
Let's see.
victim, so they wouldn't give it to me. But if I may interject, because you're
I'm
gonna
reading something.
you're gonna need more information to understand.
These are all pictures of your room.
Yes, ma'am.
Ransacked.
Yeah, my room and then the living room as well.
The living room sofa, but this is your room.
That's my room.
This is your bed. Yes, you wanted to say something.
Yes, so Your Honor, as far as the room goes, I just want to add that there were multiple people living there. I moved in June while him and his family member went through an eviction process in April. So multiple people found out that we had to leave randomly. And so I wholeheartedly believe that someone else did this.
That's not true.
I can't
Don't interrupt her.
Sorry.
show you proof that he did it. To be honest with you, I don't know who did it, but I know I didn't, and I know he was with me as well. And
What about your brother? Was he with you?
my brother is.
I'm just asking you.
No.
What about your father? Was your father with you?
No.
Okay.
My father.
Just a second. I just asking you. The plaintiff said that there were 6 other people that came to the door, other than your brother. Who else came to the door?
No one.
Okay, so your brother just came alone.
Yes, Your Honor.
And when he came, was the plaintiff still there?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. And he stayed when the plaintiff left?
No,
Did he
Your Honor.
Okay. Well, go through the timeline with me. He came because you called your father called your brother because you were having difficulty, okay? And your father sent your brother right over and said, you better get over there. She's having difficulty with this guy. You go over there and straighten it out, whatever it is. How old is your brother?
My brother is 22.
22. Big, little?
He's slightly taller than me. He is more built, maybe like the size of the bailiff, a
Okay,
little shorter.
just a second. Okay, good. So when he came over, and you let him in?
No, he did not come in.
He
I
did
didn't let
not
him
come into the house at all?
Not until Carlos opened up the door.
Just a second, well, I'm asking you.
I
He
didn't let
came
him
into
in.
the house. Carlos opened up the door. Did your brother come into the house then?
Into the house, no.
Did he just stay in the front?
Yes, Your Honor. He stayed in the doorway.
Okay. There came a time that day that the plaintiff left the property. He went to stay at a hotel. He did not come home on that night of the 27th.
Yes, Your Honor.
That's clear. When he left, where was your brother?
I have no idea.
And I don't believe that your brother left you alone there before he left.
So
you have to understand,
the story-
if your father sent your brother to be there to
Your Honor,
protect
there
his
are
sister from him,
There are things missing, and if you would allow me, I would like to tell you what actually happened that day, at least from my perspective, because it was never he left immediately. What happened was he came into my door at 7 o'clock in the morning, banging on my door, which I have a photo of the hole he put in my door, threatening me, asking if Gallo was inside of the room. He wanted to fight me and Gallo because Gallo told him to leave us alone. And he sent threatening texts to Gallo saying, I'm gonna beat you up and we could fade and bucko this, bucko that, all this. And he's like, you know, like that. I called Gallo like, hey, Carlos is banging on my door looking for you. He's like, yeah, I know. I saw the messages. I'm on my way. And I'm like, okay. So we're arguing. He's at my door. I call my dad because I'm like, I don't know what's gonna happen. And he's like, oh, he gets upset. So he calls my brother. My brother, he happens to work in the West Side as a security guard. And he's like, well, Pops just called me. Do you need me to stop by?
I understand all that.
Exactly.
Go ahead.
So after he gets there, sees Carlos outside, I go downstairs after Carlos goes to his room, and I talk with my brother. And he's like, well, what's going on? And he's like, why he don't want to come outside? And yes, my brother was very upset because I told him, like, you know, this man was threatening me.
That's hearsay.
Yes.
That's hearsay.
So,
okay, let's understand something. This all came about, pay attention. This all came about because the two of you work in the same place. You had been living in the apartment for 3 months, and there had been no other police incidents up until this time, for 3 months. This incident, according to what I'm putting together, happened because after your boyfriend Gallo left and had a conversation with him about arguments that you had had with him, which you're not going to tell me about now because you're going to tell me that never happened. That's not something people make up. And he said he got into your business. That's what you felt. He got into your business.
No,
and
Your Honor,
just
that's
a
not what I
second.
felt.
Just a second. And then you were talking about it to people where you both work. You acknowledged that you were talking to people about it where you both work.
Yes, Your Honor.
He got angry that you were bringing stuff that happened at home to work, and he came to confront you. That's
no, Your Honor, that's not. I have text.
That's exactly. Just a second.
What happened.
That's exactly what happened. That is exactly what happened.
Exactly what happened.
He came to my door because of these text messages. These text messages are time dated. He came to my door because he messaged him.
While I was at work over a dispute, It might have been about whatever the coworker said. He basically came to her door in his boxers.
No, listen to me. I don't.
He came
I'm
to my
making it.
door.
I'm making it simple, Gallo.
And so he texts Gallo, said, hey, G, I'm not fucking with her no more because she has an attitude problem. Gallo told the plaintiff, I see what you want, like you're a hater. And Carlos responded and basically said, I want to fade, I want to fight. And that is the morning he came and banged to my door, which caused me to call my dad.
Defendant Nigel Pine has accused her former roommate, Carlos Guillen, of getting her falsely arrested. Carlos claims Nigel vandalized his property when he was gone.
It started because you told your girlfriend about the brief conversation you had with him. After an argument, you say no, you're not going to say yes. Now you're still together, right?
We're
yeah,
together,
yeah,
but
still
that's
together.
Not the issue of
okay,
why we're here where we're at.
And she got annoyed because the person that she's renting a room from, who she works with, is telling her boyfriend, listen, you don't have to stand for that. You know, you got your whole life ahead of you. You know, move on with it.
Your Honor, that is not what happened.
Oh, really?
I'm begging you to listen to me.
Just show me.
He's not that type of person.
Gallo,
If
I may, so what I have in my hand is a message where he came.
Just show me. Don't read it.
May I?
Kevin, get the message.
So if you see it the first on the top page at the bottom, that message was birthed from him coming to my door while I was doing my hair and telling me to send him. He wanted to talk to. He had his boxers on. He wanted to talk to me.
Just a second. What is this supposed to tell me?
I'm telling you right now, and then you read the message. I'm going to tell you the story that led him to say that last message. Because what happened was I'm sitting in my bed doing my hair, minding my business. He walks to my door with just his boxers on speakerphone with a female. He's like standing there in the doorway, and I look, and I'm like, what's up? I'm like, what's up? I'm like, all right, well, let me know when you're ready. And I closed the door in his face. Like, I closed it because he has his boxers on. He's standing there, and I'm minding my business doing my hair. So I basically tell him, you know, let me know when you are ready to talk because you're standing here in your boxers like I'm good. And so when I open the door after, he's like, all right, I'm ready to talk. He basically like, I'm not with your attitude.
Just a minute.
You know, slam the door in my face and all this other stuff. And so he texts Gallo, that message you see there, say, hey, G, I'm not with her no more because she has an attitude problem. But I was upset because he was standing at my door in just his underwear. And so he texts him that. And then the next series of messages you'll see, Gallo told the plaintiff that basically you need to mind your business and I see what you want, like you're a hater. And Carlos responded and basically said, I want to fade, I want to fight. And you'll see those in the messages. He said, I want to fight. G, ain't got nothing to talk about. You're weird. All this buffoonery, the threats.
I don't have dates on this. Is this the 27th of August?
Yes, that is that morning.
The 27th of August.
That is that morning.
That's that morning.
And that is the morning he came and banged to my door, which caused me to call my dad. He came to my door looking for Gallo to fight him.
I'm done with this case. I'm done. I'm done. You have a counterclaim.
Yes, Your Honor.
I'm going to hear your counterclaim. Right now, this is a disaster, including the cutting up of the couch. There's no question that all of those items are worth $10,000. Now we're going to hear your counterclaim. And your counterclaim is that you were arrested falsely, tampering with tires, lost wages, and cyberbullying. I've read the messages. They're nasty. People say nasty things. That's not cyberbullying.
No, there are more.
Well, I want you to circle the ones that you say was cyberbullying. Cyberbullying. Give her a pen, please, Kevin.
Thank you.
Don't give me anything that's not circled. Are you still living at the house, sir?
I have keys to the house, but
that's
I'm not
not what I
living
asked you. Are you still living there?
No, ma'am.
Okay. I'm reading through these text messages. You said you can't fight stupid with stupid. Instead, I chose to remove my items and kick back in a 5-star hotel until my new place is ready.
Yes.
So you were moving into a new place?
I was, Your Honor, yes.
When did your lease start?
It would have started on September 10th, Your Honor.
Is the place furnished?
Not fully, Your Honor. No, I did get a new bed. That's about it as far as furniture and a dresser and like just the stuff I was able to save that she damaged at the home.
Just a second, did you take the sofa?
No, I did not take the sofa.
Did you buy a new sofa?
No, I have a studio, so it can't fit.
So it doesn't fit?
No.
Anyway, so you were moving, so you purchased a new bed. Do you have the bill for the new bed?
Not on me, Your Honor, but it's
Well,
the
that's
same.
what, you know,
Yeah.
she may have destroyed all this stuff, but if you weren't taking the stuff with you anyway because you have a studio apartment,
Right. Yes, ma'am.
you had to buy a new bed. I could understand you not having this bed.
Right.
Okay. Well, first of all, it's not cyberbullying, any of this. It's nasty, but it's not cyberbullying. He does say in these emails, he came crying to me at 7 in the morning talking about how she beats him, calls him names, and says she wants him out of her life. I simply told bro not to worry about himself, to move on, just like any person with common sense would. This trick decides to go around my job and tell people I'm dirty. I don't pay my bills, and I'm trying to blank her man. All right, so I've just stricken cyberbullying. You have bill for the bed, sir. And if you don't, I'm going to allow you to tell me what you spent for it, because so far the $10,000 is coming down. How much was the bed?
$5,000, Your Honor.
Show me.
I didn't bring the receipt for the new bed. It was just for that bed that she damaged. Because I have a Cali King now. She damaged my queen. So I have the comp for the queen bed that it was.
Well, I'd like to see that bed, which I see here. So you're going to show me a comp to this bed.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, let's move to false arrest. Well, you were arrested in part for vandalism, is that correct?
No, Your Honor.
Well, that's what the police report says.
Well, honestly, I haven't been able to see the police report, but I know that based on what officer gave me, I was arrested for theft.
Okay, what I'm telling you was the police report says he reported that the suspect vandalized property, also that property was missing from his bedroom, but he is clearly accusing you of vandalism. And the report says a report of theft, but the officer clearly arrested you probably for both charges because the police report says vandalism, and I find that was a legitimate arrest.
No, Your Honor.
That's what I find.
Okay. And I go to my car to go to work, and all 4 of my tires were flat and bolts were missing.
So were the tires flattened and slashed?
To be honest, I don't know, but they said there were holes in it and they weren't patchable.
I don't believe in serendipity and coincidence. This is far too coincidental.
Defendant Nigel Pine has accused her former roommate, Carlos Guillen, of getting her falsely arrested. Carlos claims Nigel vandalized his property when he was gone.
Did you find that for me?
Yes, I have an image of it, Your Honor, so sorry. Here you go. That's the mattress that she damaged.
So you had a queen and you bought a split king, is that what you're telling me?
Yes, I bought a Cal King, yes.
Okay, so that was $3,000.
Yeah.
Okay. And you left this bed here, or what did you do with it?
I had some people clean it, so.
You had what people clean it?
I called my maintenance people who helps out with the house and stuff, and he got some of his crew, and they cleaned out and cleared out the whole apartment, Your Honor.
Cleaned out the whole apartment?
Yes.
What did they do with the bed?
I believe they trashed it, Your Honor. I'm not sure.
You don't know. Do you have a bill from them?
From them, no, Your Honor.
You don't have anything. I mean, what is it that you have?
Well,
you don't
no.
have a bill for a new bed.
Yeah.
You have a bed that you say is comparable. You don't have a bill from the people who cleaned out the apartment, because I assume somebody had to clean this apartment.
Right.
If you were moving out.
Right.
Well, right, I know I'm right. All right, I'm getting more disgusted with this case at every turn. Strike $10,000. Tell me about your tires. When did you find your tires
So the
tampered
27th,
with?
after the police left, after we agreed to peace, I went upstairs to go to sleep.
He was still in the house?
Yes, Your Honor.
On the 27th?
And when I woke up, I was getting ready to go to work. I noticed the electricity was off, which in those papers I gave you, he stated he turned off the electricity.
Yes.
Electricity was off. Everything was gone as well. Like, not everything, but like weird random things, like the microwave was gone. It was like a PS4 and like some like game setup thing that was gone.
Okay.
Like all of the valuables were gone.
So he had taken some of his stuff out because he was
Right.
moving. Well, he moved. Are you telling me he didn't move? Didn't move.
Not yet. No.
Oh, he's still there.
He was still there. But he
I mean,
took-
today, now. Is he there now?
Oh, no, Your Honor. But he was still there. Like, his things were still there.
Some of his things were still there, but he took some things with him.
He took.
When he left on the 27th.
With the things he claimed was valuable. Anyway, so I go downstairs and I go to my car to go to work because, like I said, I didn't think this would go any further, to be honest with you. And all 4 of my tires were flat and bolts were missing out of my tires.
You have photographs of that?
Yes, Your Honor.
I'd like to take a look at it.
Are these repeats? Oh, this is one with the timestamp. Thank you.
And he was not there.
No, Your Honor.
So were the tires flattened and slashed, or were they?
To be honest, I don't know, but they said there were holes in it and they weren't patchable at all.
So they were holes in all
Yes,
4?
Your Honor.
Do you have the bills for 4 new tires?
No. I paid cash. I should have.
That doesn't mean
but-
whether you paid cash or not. It means we're not
Yeah,
talking about.
I
we're
wasn't
not
thinking
talking
about it, but I do have a receipt for the tow.
The tow I will
Yes.
take.
Which I ended up having. So we used Gallo's AAA, and it was his 4th tow, so he wasn't going to be able to get another one after that. So I ended up
I just
paying him for the extra tow, which is $90. And then I bought 4 new tires.
Well, I can't help you with the 4 new tires because
okay.
what you
I'm
come
fine.
here for is to prove to me any element of your claim. Right now, the plaintiff has not proven all the elements to his claim for $10,000. I believe he had to buy a new bed because that bed was destroyed, and I've already indicated who I believe is responsible for that. I do believe that he or somebody acting at his bequest, because I don't believe in serendipity and coincidence. This is far too coincidental. The damage to the home was far too coincidental to your argument with him, and the damage to your car is far too coincidental for me to be comfortable with. So I would, if you had a receipt, and we're not talking about years ago, we're talking about recently that you say you had to buy 4 new tires. Well, whether you pay cash or check for tires, you can get a receipt. And if you know you're coming to court, you're supposed to get a receipt. The same thing I'm telling you.
I didn't know I was going to court. I thought it was all over with, to be honest.
Very, very good. Judgment for the plaintiff on the complaint. My original order was for $3,000. From that, I'm reducing it by $90, so it's $29.10. Judgment for the plaintiff. That disposes of the counterclaim. Thank you very much. We're finished here.
This court is adjourned.
He never lived there. We don't argue like that.
We never argued. It never was a problem. He's basically, his issue was with her.
She's a hater, to keep it real with you. She assumed that I was trying to sleep with her man when I was just giving him evidence, so.
We have DMs, messages. He came to me talking about her, and I addressed him. That's my girlfriend.
Yeah, I mean, there's text messages of him thanking me. So it's kind of weird how that played about, but I don't know.
He's tired of her, he's annoyed, and I'm like, that's not nothing that you should be telling me. You guys don't need to talk. She stays on the 3rd floor, you're at the bottom. Leave her alone.
I definitely did respond, letting him know that, you know, if you're gonna go around saying that I'm trying to sleep with you and spread all these lies, then we can definitely have a conversation face to face. I did say that, yes.
But he's already been treating her like this from the jump. And that's why I messaged him to basically leave her alone.
They definitely damaged his house. I've seen it for myself, so it's unfortunate how it ended, but we know the truth.
Honestly, we never want to hear from him.
I don't want to hear from him ever again.
I think you were right that there was far too many scenarios that lined up a little too perfectly around the same argument for it to be somebody else.
Some other dude did it. You know, I'm sorry that the plaintiff didn't tell me he moved and was in fact moving within a couple of days into a studio apartment. That would have been interesting information to have right from the get-go. I don't know why I didn't have it. It just would have gone to the extent of damages. I mean, if he had to buy a new sofa, and certainly from the vandalism of that sofa he needed, but he didn't need a new sofa. He had a studio apartment. That doesn't give somebody the right to vandalize your property and to break things.
But the law is allowed to use common sense in determining damages, and I think your final ruling on canceling out the defendant's countersuit with the plaintiff's too large of an ask for damages was the right call.
You think so?
I think so.
You know.
I wish she had the receipt for tires. You could put 2 and 2 together that, okay, clearly...
Oh, I saw the photographs. The tires were clearly flattened, but you don't know if they were flattened as a result of somebody taking the plugs off them and just letting the air go out of them.
And without a receipt or without a mechanic's note.
You really don't know. And this all happened 2 months ago, so she should have the bills. Anyway, you tried to use common sense, and when the physical evidence isn't there of who done it, you sort of try to piece together a scenario that makes sense. Unfortunately, now you have some text messages and you have emails that assist in that. Not everything is a picture.
Yeah.
More and more so, at least in the criminal system, it's becoming a picture because everybody has cameras all the time and there's cameras all over the place. But in these civil actions, very often there aren't. I think it was right.
Want justice? Go to judyjustice.tv. Robert Ritter is suing homeowners Jeff McNally and Angela Klingenberg for property damage.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Hello, Judge. Case 2164, Ritter versus McNally Klingenberg.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Ritter, you own a piece of property.
That is correct, Your Honor.
And it's a residential piece of property?
That is correct.
And you use it as a business?
That is correct.
I would assume that this is your tenant.
That is correct.
Perfect. Could you stand up next to Mr. Ritter? What is your last name?
Mason.
Mason. These are your neighbors across the street?
Yes.
I live side by side.
So you're side by side, not across the street?
I live across the street.
Now, there came a time, Miss Mason, that you heard something that was unusual. Can you describe what you saw?
I was startled by the sound of a big thud and my dog freaking out and ran to the window. And so I jumped up, ran to the window where the dog as well was running toward, and looked out the window and seen the truck that had just hit the air conditioning unit.
Can you describe the truck?
A white truck pickup.
Had you seen that car before?
Yes, in the driveway next door to me.
So in his driveway?
Yes.
Did you see who was driving the truck?
I did.
Was it Mr. McNally?
It was not.
Who was it?
The young lady beside him, right across the street.
Klingenberg?
Yes.
When you looked outside, what did you see the truck do next?
As I looked out the window and made eye contact, I seen...
With her?
Yes, I seen Jeff at the back end of the truck, right by the AC unit, kind of backing her off a little bit, kind of gave her a raised hand.
So he was out there as well?
Yes, positioned behind the truck.
What did you do?
Well, I jumped up and then I ran and actually grabbed my phone to take pictures because I did not want to be responsible for what had just happened to the air conditioning unit. As I could tell, it had been moved and hit.
Do you have those photographs?
I did send those to Bob. He has pictures of those.
Kevin? Yes. Want to get them?
I immediately texted Bob as well, letting him know.
So that day, the 20th of August, you went, took photographs of the truck?
Yes, ma'am, and the yard and the air conditioning unit.
Okay. Mr. McNally.
Yes, Your Honor.
Where had you been camping?
We were camping in a place called McCall, Idaho.
Aside from you and Miss Klingenberg, who were there?
My son.
See how easy this is? It's gonna get easier. Do you understand? Okay. Now, is this your girlfriend?
Yes.
Okay. Now we got that clear. This is your girlfriend. You and your girlfriend were camping. Your son was with you. And what you were doing that day was you were trying to unload the truck with the camping gear, correct?
Correct.
Is the camping gear heavy?
Yes.
So somebody was driving the truck and somebody was schlepping the stuff out of the truck to put it away, right?
Correct.
Now, Mr. McNally, you don't want me to believe that either you or stand up, or this guy were just twiddling your thumbs and you backed up the truck so that you left Miss Klingenberg to empty the truck, right? You don't want me to believe that.
No.
Because that wouldn't be true, and that would be foolish, and that would make you certainly unchivalrous, right?
Correct, Your Honor.
Okay. So when you were first confronted with this, you said, oh, my girlfriend wasn't driving, right?
Right.
So let's get it straight now, because that's what you wrote here in your answer. Oh, my girlfriend wasn't driving, my son was driving. That's not true. I don't know why you would choose to say my son was driving, not my girlfriend, unless she doesn't have a driver's license, because otherwise there'd be no difference whether your truck was being driven by you or your son or your girlfriend. Do you understand? No difference. Your truck being driven with you around hit his air conditioning unit. So what difference does it make? You have a driver's license?
I do not.
There you go. Perfect.
I was not driving, Your Honor.
Yes, you were. Yes, you were. You were driving, and he says you were. You see, and he says you, just a second, you didn't see his face just now. He says you were. Now, how did I know you didn't have a driver's license? Do you have a driver's license?
Yes.
Yes. But how did I know you didn't? Where do you think I got that from? I got that from common sense, because Mr. McNally doesn't look like a stupid man. And there would be really no difference if he drove the car, you drove the car, the son drove the car, his car caused damage. But in order to perhaps have insurance cover it, if he had insurance on the truck, do you?
My insurance had actually lapsed.
What? Okay, so it really didn't make any difference. If you had no insurance, you could have said she was driving. But didn't think that far. Okay, so that's why we're here. We're here because you let an unlicensed driver drive your truck that was uninsured that you took on a camping trip. Is this coming together for me?
It's close.
So now we got that straight, right? The next thing we have to take care of are the damages. I see that the outer part of this air conditioning unit was definitely hit. Now, the outside is merely a cover. So I need some evidence that this damage that he caused while she was driving damaged the mechanism of the air conditioner, because you replaced the unit and you want him to be responsible for the unit, right?
That is correct, Your Honor.
I have to see a photograph, because I don't have this photograph of the inside of this. I just have the photograph of the cover.
I do not have the inside, but I do have from two HVAC companies that did go out to service it. One that did the replacement, the other that came out second opinion, as Jeff had asked us to do, which we did.
Okay, I'd like to see it.
This will be the second, and this is the actual invoice for payment.
Oh, this is the second opinion. This says, second opinion call, 4-year-old Goodman air conditioning unit has been backed into. The unit has permanent damage to the condenser coil. Well, that's the unit itself. That's just not the lipstick on it. That's the guts of it. This says immediate repair, replace condenser coil and damaged panels, 3961.
Correct.
Replacing the unit instead may be an option to consider. And to do the whole job, what did he want, $5,000?
The other side, $3,450 to replace the identical unit.
Okay, and to repair
it was less money to replace it
than to repair.
Correct.
Okay. Do you understand that now?
I do.
Okay.
Thank you, Your
So,
Honor.
based upon your request, he got a second opinion. Second opinion was for more money to repair. He chose the lesser of the two, which is to replace the unit. The ball is in your court, sir.
Garrett was actually driving.
I don't believe it. You've had some time to reprocess it all. You would have had the boy, that's what you raised them for, strong boys. You wouldn't have said, well, you just sit in the car while my girlfriend unloads it. Take the hair out of your eyes so I can see your eyes. Perfect.
And later today.
I want to know how much you received from the insurance company.
$874.53.
Then could you tell me, I had a check from the insurance company, which was a little over $1,300 from their appraisal.
No, that's incorrect.
Well, that's what you wrote, madam. That's your signature, that's what you wrote.
Robert Ritter claims homeowners Jeff McNally and Angela Klingenberg owe for property damage after hitting his air conditioner.
Your car, uninsured as it was, driven by your girlfriend, damaged his property. Why don't you think that you're responsible for it?
We don't believe we hit it.
The damage is on your truck, sir. There's a picture of your truck here. You want to see it? Or you don't have to see it. You'd be better off just saying, you know what? I don't have the money. You'd be better off just saying, because we started out wrong. You and I, Mr. McNally. And the wrong started off was claimed his son was driving, even though Regina clearly saw his girlfriend. Okay, so that was a fib here.
Actually, Your Honor, if I may, there was just one front seat, a bent seat, and she was sitting in the middle, and Garrett was actually driving.
I don't believe it, sir. You've had some time to reprocess it all. That's not true. She was driving, because if you were unloading the truck, you would have had the boy. That's what you raised them for, strong boys. You wouldn't have said, well, you just sit in the car while my girlfriend unloads it. You wouldn't have said that. Put your hand down. Take the hair out of your eyes so I can see your eyes. Perfect. Thank you. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $3,800. It's not a good idea, Mr. McNally, to show your son that it's the right thing to do, not to tell the truth. That's a very good lesson that parents should teach their children right from the get-go. And accepting responsibility for what was clearly an accident. I mean, she didn't mean to back into his air conditioner, right?
Right.
It happened. It was an accident. That's why they don't call it an on purpose. It was an accident. But once you have an accident, you have to accept responsibility. That's what you want to teach him. And if he lifts his hair, he'll be able to see and be able to hear better. We're done. Thank you.
This court is adjourned.
We were all sitting in the front of the bench seat, so I was in the middle, and I think when she initially came out, she saw me sitting in the truck, but maybe she assumed I was sitting in the driver's seat, but I wasn't.
Nope, my vision was great that day. It did make me jump, and my dog was freaking out, so I definitely knew something hit the house.
I told him that my son and I were emptying firewood and that he may have hit his AC unit.
It's just sad, you know, that they had to do that and that the young man had to be involved when he really didn't do it.
That case was a great demonstration of how being well prepared and doing the right thing can make the justice system work for you in the right way. He had all of his evidence laid out exactly how he needed to present it to you, and he had the damage evidence, he had the photographs, and he did the right thing. He didn't try and get a whole new unit for the $5,000. He said, I'll get the 2 estimates if that's what you want me to do. So it just shows how being prepared and having all your ducks in a row can really benefit you when you come into a court system.
But my problem was telling the lie after you've sworn to tell the truth in front of his son, because those things remain embedded in your children. You want to be a good parent. The first thing you have to teach your children is to be honest. And if he sees that his father and the father's girlfriend are dishonest, that will become part of his fabric. That's a mistake. So,
I agree.
But I think you are correct that it was a good lesson in preparing a case that made it easier to try.
True.
Case 2171, Cosby versus Warren. All parties, please step forward.
Shalea Cosby is suing mechanic Kevin Warren for the repair cost of a car and lost wages.
Okay, Miss Cosby. According to your complaint, you parked your car near your home on a side street. You came out the next day and you found your car vandalized. Car was a 2017 Hyundai Elantra.
Correct.
Did you buy the car new or used?
Used.
And how much did you pay for the car?
I put a down payment of $1,350, I believe, $1,350.
So you financed the whole thing?
Yes.
And you have to have insurance on your car. You have to have liability, collision, all that other good stuff because you have a loan.
Right.
And you did have insurance. Now, came out, you looked at your car and it was vandalized. What was wrong with it?
The back window was shattered, and along the side passenger top quarter panel, back passenger door, and the passenger mirror, it was shot.
You have photographs of it?
Yes.
I'd like to see it.
Right here.
Okay. Did you notify your insurance company?
I did.
On what date?
The same exact date, which was July 22nd, is when I came out and found my car vandalized. I submitted a police report. I have that right here.
I'd like to take a look at it, please.
And
okay, nothing with nothing. Okay, so you told the police about it on the 22nd.
Yes.
And when did you bring it in for the defendant to take a look at it?
That was August 18th.
She brought the car into you in August?
Yes.
And how long have you been in the auto repair business?
16 years.
So you've dealt with insurance adjusters before?
Yes.
And did you make the appointment for the insurance adjuster to come and look at the car?
They never came to look at it. Sometimes they just have me submit photos if they don't have anyone in the field to come look at the vehicle.
Okay. Now, when the plaintiff came in and brought you the car, did you have a discussion with her?
Yes, I did.
And I want you to tell me the best of your recollection, what she told you and what you told her.
Okay, like she said, she brought me the vehicle on August 19th, and she told me she took it from another shop. She had a problem with another shop getting the repairs done.
Tell me what kind of problem you had with another shop.
It was no problems with the other shops besides they didn't want to do the estimate on it and told me to talk to my insurance about it. And my insurance told me to find my own shop. And that's when I found it.
Just a second. Did your insurance company send you to the first shop that you went to?
Yes.
And for some reason, that first body shop was unsatisfactory to you. Mm-hmm. So you took it to the defendant. This is what the story is. The story is the defendant still has your car, right? Mm-hmm. And he's keeping your car because he says you didn't pay for the repairs. It's your position that you gave him the entire check from the insurance company. Is that your position? Speak. Be very careful what you tell me.
This is how her car looked when she brought it to me.
Oh, Miss Cosby, I have a feeling that you're not going to like the outcome of this.
Oh, no, I'm legit all the way around.
Oh,
so
really?
And those are the afterward
Just
pictures.
a second. Hustler.
Oh, it's not a hustler at all, man.
Absolutely a hustle.
Shalea Cosby claims mechanic Kevin Warren owes for the repair cost of a car and lost wages.
The insurance check went to you
Correct.
to cover the damage to the car.
Correct.
I'd like to see the check receipt that you received from the insurance company. Look, we're going to have trouble with each other, madam. Do you understand? This isn't the only check you got from the insurance company.
If you're talking about a check in 2020, that has no relevance to 2022 vandalism check.
I want to know how much you received from the insurance company.
$874.53.
Then can you tell me, I had a check from the insurance company, which was a little over $1,300 from their appraisal.
No, that's incorrect.
Well, that's what you wrote, madam. That's what you wrote. That's your signature, that's what you wrote.
I see the paper. The totaling was $1,374.53. I didn't receive a full $1,374.53 check from my insurance. I received $874.53 and had to pay my deductible of $500.
When you brought your car in to Mr. Warren, tell me what the conversation was.
Before I got to him, I let him know what was going on, what I was going through.
No, not let him know. I asked you what you said to him and what he said to you. First of all, you didn't like the first place that the insurance company sent you to. I don't know why. All I know is when you're dealing with this kind of thing, everybody's trying to make a little bit extra. And it's been my experience, and maybe I'm wrong, that when you have a little accident, you take your car into a body shop. Very often, if that's their business, they say, this is what you want fixed, this is what the damage was. And the person who runs the body shop or the owner of the body shop will say to you, I'll take whatever the insurance is, I'll work with the adjuster. Mm-hmm. That's what they usually do. Correct, sir?
Yes.
Yes. And in this case, is that what happened?
No.
Is what I'm asking you, because your complaint is that he has your car, won't give it back because he's put a mechanic's lien on it because he says that he did $6,000 worth of work on the car.
He did work that was not approved by me nor my insurance.
I'm just telling you, that's what he says. He did $6,000 worth of work on the car.
Okay.
Okay? But I have to tell you, Mr. Warren, that has been my experience, and I'm very old, that when you take a car in that's been in an accident, they say, you know what, I'll work with your insurance company. And we all know what that means. That means that whatever your insurance company gives you, they'll send me the check. That will be what I'm going to accept for the work. Now, what you're suggesting is that she authorized you to do $6,000 worth of work, and you didn't speak to the insurance company.
I spoke with them plenty of times.
Oh, what did they tell you that they were sending her?
I have it here.
I'd like to see it.
I have 3 estimates here.
No, I want to see from the insurance company.
They're the insurance company estimates, not mine.
I'd like to see it.
Okay, here's the first one. Like she said, when she first brought her car to me, she had this one already for $873. Okay, so then what we do when we see more damage, we put what you call a supplement in. So I put a supplement in, and that's when they told me she has 2 claims. She has a claim for the auto body damage and a claim for the vandalism. The $874 is for the vandalism. If you look at these other 2 estimates, it's a totally different claim number.
May I see it, please?
That she put the claim in for. So these other 2 are for the auto body portion.
Not for the vandalism.
No, it's 2 different claims.
When she brought you the car, was there body damage on the car?
Absolutely. This is how the car looked when she brought this to me.
I'm not just talking about that. Can I see, please?
This is how her car looked when she brought it to me.
Oh, Miss Cosby, I have a feeling that you're not going to like the outcome of this.
Oh, no, I'm legit all the way around.
Oh,
so
really?
And those are the afterwards
Just
pictures.
a second. Just a second. This car was in a bad accident.
Yes, correct.
This car was in a bad accident. Hey, this car was in a bad accident shortly after you got it.
Correct.
Right. And you got a check from the insurance company to fix this.
Correct.
How much was the check that you got from the insurance company to fix this?
The total in amount, I'm not sure, but I think it was like 2001 or 2002.
And you didn't have it fixed.
No one wanted to fix it.
Well, he fixed it. Just a second. Hey, Miss Cosby, he fixed it.
Without
Just
my
a second.
approval.
What did you do with the $2,000?
Oh, I paid my own personal bills because no one wanted to fix the car, so I have to keep living.
Your case is dismissed.
Okay.
How's that?
That's
Your
fine.
case. Hustler.
Oh, it's not a hustler at all, man.
Hustler. Absolutely, absolutely a hustle. I actually think you're a hustler. That's why I'm not helping you.
That's fine.
Because you had an accident in 2020, you got a check from the insurance company to fix it. I don't know how much that check was because you don't have a copy of that check. You brought the car into him and said, now I have a broken back window. I have a feeling, and I know it's only a feeling, but this is my program so I can vent that feeling, that you went to the first place to fix the car and you said to them, I want you to fix the front and the back, and they said no. That was for something else. You already got paid for
incorrect.
that.
They
So you
didn't
went to
want to
him.
get an estimate altogether.
Yeah, I don't believe you.
You don't have to.
I don't. Well, I don't. I don't.
have to.
That's why your case is dismissed.
That's fine.
Now I'm getting to your counterclaim. Because you put a mechanic's lien on the car?
Yes, I have it here.
Great. So you've got a mechanic's lien on it. She can't sell it. I'm not giving it back to her. I'm not ordering it back to her. You have the car?
Yes.
Sell it.
I need that signature on that paper to be able to do so.
It doesn't matter.
From whom?
From her. Or you can sign it just to say.
Oh, I can't.
To turn over.
Oh.
That says she has no more interest in the car.
I can't. She does have an interest. The car's got a lien on it, sir.
Absolutely.
Okay? You're going to have to pay off this note. Do you understand? I don't think you're going to be able to get the money after you pay off the note. But you fixed the car.
Absolutely.
And I think that you're entitled to money for fixing the car on your counterclaim. She's going to pay on your counterclaim because I'm not sure whether you're going to be able to get any money on this car. I don't know what's going to happen with this car. I'm just not returning it to her. Do you understand?
Yeah.
I'm going to try to make you as close to whole as you can be because I think what happened to you was a hustle. That's what I think. Usually I don't side with mechanics. It's just been my experience. But I think that...
I'm glad you changed today.
I think that this is a hustle. $3,800, judgment for the defendant on the counterclaim. Thank you very much. We're done.
Oh, I appreciate her decision. I believe she ruled the right decision because I brought all my paperwork and it wasn't no other way to rule it. Well, she said she wanted me to help her get her car fixed and that she was gonna get the insurance and pay me like she was supposed to do, but I guess once she got the money, she changed her mind. All mechanics aren't bad.
That was a surprise.
That was.
For me.
Did not think it was going to go that way when we reviewed it earlier.
When we talked about it, I looked at it, when we spoke about it, I said, you know, sort of using my life's history. Take the car in, don't worry, I'll work with the insurance company, does a little bit more work. The insurance company sends a check for a little less. But he wasn't at fault. She was the hustler.
Yeah, he wasn't trying to make an extra quick buck like a lot of mechanics that we've seen. He did the work.
He did the work. Because she didn't bring the car in there just for the back windshield.
Mm-hmm.
It's a hustle.
It seemed that way. As soon as somebody says, oh, that thing from then has nothing to do with why we're here now, immediate red flag.
Bing, bing.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm glad that worked out. And
me too. I'm glad you gave him the money.
And she's not going to get her car. Perfect.
Are you a victim of a scam? Go to judyjustice.tv. former friend, Ontrell Brooks, for a car loan.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, everyone.
Hello, Judge.
Hello.
Case 2108, Howard versus Brooks.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ms. Howard, your case is simple. You claim a loan to the defendant for the down payment on a car.
Yes.
When did you make this loan?
March 24th of this year.
How much was it?
I gave him $1,500 and he paid $300.
Where did you take the money from?
I had it at my home.
In cash?
Yes.
What kind of work do you do?
I'm a hairstylist. I'm an owner-operator.
Okay.
Yes.
And that's the sole source of your income?
Yes. I own a salon business. I'm opening my second one.
Tell me how you know the defendant.
He was a client of a former stylist many years ago, so I met him through the salon.
Did you have any sort of relationship with him?
At the time that I met, no.
No. At the time that you gave him this loan,
we were friends.
What did he say he needed the loan for?
To get a vehicle.
To get a car?
He was at Mercedes trying to purchase another car, and I knew he had a baby on the way, so I felt it was...
I want to know what he said to you.
He said that he needed help with the down payment. He was short some for a down payment on a car that he wanted.
Did you have that conversation on the phone or in person?
Yeah, he called me and asked me for originally $2,500 to help with them with the down payment. And I told him, well, I don't know if I have that much. I'll see what I can get him. I had the $1,500. He came to pick it up at my home.
And that was on the 24th of March?
Yes.
When did you purchase your car?
I believe it was the 24th as well.
You have any paperwork for the car? What paperwork do you have there? I just want to see what you brought with you today.
Basically, the lien holder paper.
And what is that supposed to tell me?
I believe it has the date on there when I purchased it.
Okay. And how much did you put down on the car?
$9,000.
Did you trade in a car?
No.
Why did you need $2,500 from her?
I actually didn't ask for it. I just mentioned to her that I
No,
needed
just a
it.
second. I asked you a question.
Okay.
Why did you need extra money towards the down payment? Did it affect the payments? Did it affect the insurance? Did it affect the
yes.
premium?
Basically, the car, it was like $74,000. So if I was to put down a lower payment, like you were saying, the payment would be higher for the monthly. So if I put down a little more, it dropped it down a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So she gave you $1,500, not $25,000.
Yes.
But she gave you $1,500.
Yeah.
And she gave that to you around the same time that you purchased the car. Were you current in your insurance payments on the car?
Yes.
And then you crashed the car.
Yes.
And the insurance company paid the lien holder on the car.
Yes.
Made the payout.
Yes.
So you didn't get any money from the insurance.
No.
So now you have no car, right? I don't know if you have a car now.
I have a car, yes.
Well, you got another car.
Yes.
What kind of car did you buy?
Tesla.
A Tesla. And how much did you pay for the Tesla?
I put down like $8,000.
Where'd you get the $8,000 from?
I work. I have a place where I hold traveling nurses.
Did you take the money out of a bank or did you have it in cash?
I had it in cash.
The $8,000.
Yeah.
How much money do you make from this business that you have?
It varies depending on how many nurses I have staying there.
So you own the property, or do you manage the property?
I manage the property. So it's basically housing nurses or people that travel for business.
And how long have you had that business?
I've been doing that for maybe a couple years now.
That's how you support yourself?
That, and I do training as well, fitness training.
Okay, so now you paid back $300 of the $15,000, right?
I gave her $300.
Right, and when did you give her the $300?
I'm not quite sure the date, but...
Give me a month.
I'm not quite sure.
When did he give you the $300?
May 17th.
Okay.
Tell me why you gave her back the $300.
I gave it back to her because she basically...
Not basically, this is basically.
Because she kept asking for it, so just to get her off me for a second. So I gave her $300. Just I didn't feel like I owed it to her because I thought that, you know, it was given to me because we were like really cool.
Just a second. Okay. All right. Well, Miss Howard.
You can't be serious.
Miss Howard.
Yes, ma'am.
How long have you been operating your two salons?
I'm opening a new one now, and the first one was opened in 2012.
Do you live with anyone?
My children.
How many kids do you have?
I have 3.
How old are they?
I have a 17, 18, and 21-year-old.
Big kids?
Yeah, college and high school, yes.
Who supports them?
I do.
From
Their
your
father
work?
helps too, yes.
From your work. Do you live with their father?
No.
No. But he also helps. with
Yes,
them.
he does.
And you sound like a really intelligent, put-together woman who's had her own business, who's got 3 kids, college kids.
Yes.
Moving forward.
Yes.
Why? Why do you think, I know that you work, because if you're a hairdresser and that's your source of income, you work really hard. It takes a long time to accumulate $1,500. I'm sure you get some tips and stuff. That's the cash that you keep.
Yeah.
So you work hard and you've got 3 kids who need money. He wants to buy an uber expensive car and he wants his payments to be lower. So he says to you, not that he needs it. See, he doesn't need it to get a car. He wants it to make his payments lower.
That's not how he presented it to me.
How did he present it to you?
He said he needs help, he needs the money for the down payment, and he told me that, the situation, his car got taken away or whatever. And
his car got what?
His previous vehicle was taken from him.
From how?
I don't know.
What kind of a car did you have? Before you bought the BMW?
That's what it was. It was a BMW.
Oh, and then you bought a Mercedes?
Yeah.
Okay, so you bought, sorry, I got that confused. You bought the Mercedes using some of her money. Before that, you had a BMW.
Yes.
Okay, and now you have a Tesla. Do you understand how foolish that sounds?
Yes.
You don't want to sound foolish.
Well, like I said, he's had a baby on the way any day now, and my compassion for the situation, I was like, okay, I'll give you that. And I know he's had a source of income. It's not like I've ever known him not to have an income. So I felt like, okay, he'll do right by me. Of course, he didn't. We see.
Do you know how many people stand in exactly that spot and say, I trusted him. He gave me this story, he gave me that story.
Yes.
And what I'm telling you is, most of the people standing there, for some reason that has always baffled me, are women. Any guy who takes money from you to lower his car payment and buys a car for $75,000, the only people that do that sort of thing are untrustworthy. Then you change the contract and you said, not acceptable. You're behind $500 and a late payment will only be acceptable with a current payment. Is there anything about that in your contract?
There's not.
Okay, so if it's not in your contract, it doesn't exist.
Vanessa Howard claims her former friend, Ontrell Brooks, owes for a car loan.
Most of the people standing there, for some reason that has always baffled me, are women.
Yeah.
Very rarely do I have guys standing there and say, she asked me for this, and so I knew she had a baby on the way, and I felt sorry for it, so I gave them money.
Right.
Most of the time, they say goodbye, which is what you should have said. And
absolutely.
You appear to be much too fine a lady and
thank you.
A hardworking lady. Don't give anybody.
No more.
Any guy who takes money from you to lower his car payment and buys a car for $75,000 and asks you for $1,000 or $2,000, knowing that you're a working gal and that he didn't need it to buy a car. He could have bought a car for $50,000. He could have bought a car for $30,000.
Right.
Likes to drive fancy cars with somebody else's money, okay?
Yes.
So the only people that do that sort of thing are untrustworthy, usually, as my great-grandmother would call them, bums. So I would suggest that you be smart in the future. You're a hardworking lady. Hold on to your money. If you want to invest in anything, invest in your children's future. We're done here. Judge for the plaintiff.
This court is adjourned.
Mr. Brooks took my money with no intentions of paying back.
I thought it was, she gave it to me.
Oh, car crashed, my tires got slashed.
I thought it was a gift because she really liked me.
Don't let men borrow money.
Lovely woman, hardworking woman. She's going to have a chain, as Dolly Parton would say, have a chain. Going to have a second salon. On the other side, you have somebody with zero judgment.
He's well-versed in other people's money.
Why a perfectly sensible, bright woman would take money that she worked really hard for and give it to somebody that she hardly knows.
Women have to be smarter.
The women have to be smarter, worry about themselves.
Yeah.
Case 2113, Pickett versus Glick. All parties, please step forward.
William Pickett is suing his former friend, Clinton Gick, for unpaid car payments and vehicle damage.
Mr. Pickett, you and the defendant, according to what I've read, were friends. You knew each other.
Yes.
You had a car that you were interested in selling. The defendant was interested in purchasing the car. Your car was 10 or 11-year-old vehicle,
Correct.
Is that correct?
Yes.
When had you purchased it?
I purchased it about a year or so prior.
So you only had the car for a year. You were not an
Sure
original
enough,
owner.
Yeah.
Did you pay cash?
I did.
How much did you pay for the car?
Roughly $10,000, $10,000.
No, I want to know. I mean, you came to court today, not a roughly. Today we know the numbers. We're not talking about something that happened 20 years ago, something that happened a year ago. You bought a car a year ago. You paid cash for it, according to you. I want to know how much you paid for it. That's easy. You should have those records.
10,000.
Well, now you say 10, right?
Yep.
Now you say 10. So now I'm going to tell you to go outside and get me the bill of sale for the car.
I did not bring that.
Why?
I didn't think I needed it.
How am I supposed to ascertain what you paid for the car, sir?
I didn't think about that.
Should have thought about it. I thought about it right off the bat. You had the car for 1 year. And when did you sell it to the defendant?
3/18 of 22.
For how much?
$10,000.
Well, then you're a genius businessman, because unless this 10, 11-year-old car, Mr. Pickett, had something really unusual about it, most cars depreciate the moment you drive them out of the lot. You bought this car from a company, which means you paid more for it than if you purchased it through a private person. You understand that?
Yes.
Of course. So there was clearly a markup. Sarah, take a look at a 2012 Dodge Charger with 148,000 miles.
I got it. Between 7,500 and 10,000 for a private party sale.
Okay, so as I thought, the value of the car went down from when you bought it, but you sold it to him for $10,000 because he was making payments, I assume because he was making payments. Did you have a written contract?
I did.
I'd like to take a look at it. Mr. Glick, how did you know each other, sir?
We worked together. We'd known each other for about a year, I think, at the time the car was sold.
Okay, so the first thing was he traded in something of value, which was he gave you a car.
Correct.
What kind of car did he give you?
A Honda minivan.
Did you have the title to that?
Yes, I did.
Did he turn over the title to you?
He did.
What did you do with the Honda minivan?
I sold it.
To whom?
Someone off of Facebook Marketplace.
Okay, when did you sell it?
A few weeks afterwards.
How much did you sell it for? How much did you say you sold it for?
$1,000, $1,200.
Let's get specific, Mr. Pickett.
$1,000.
I'm not exactly sure what he sold it for, but clearly acknowledges at least $1,000. So this is what the lawsuit is about, and I've read your contract. According to the contract that you have here, you listed the dates, the schedule of payments, and you marked off when he paid and when he didn't. But we're going to go through the dates, and your lawsuit seeks damages to the car, repo fees, the unpaid contract price of the car because you repossessed it and you want him to continue until he's finished paying for it, right? That's what you want.
Yes, ma'am.
And the defendant has a counterclaim. And his counterclaim, in effect, although he doesn't articulate it in legalese, the basis of his countersuit is that there was never any meaningful breach of the contract and that he tried to make his payments pursuant to the contract and that you repossessed the car without just cause, and he's counterclaiming for the money that he put into the car as equity. That's what your counterclaim is.
That's
correct? Okay. So far you put in $4,000. According to this, he paid you March of 2022, April. As a matter of fact, he made 2 payments.
Correct. Payment schedule was for every 2 weeks.
Shh. 6/17, he made a partial payment, but made that up on 7/1, so he was up to date. Then you say on the 15th of July, he missed a payment. Did you miss a payment the 15th of July?
Yes, I did, Your Honor.
Tell me why.
At that point, the plaintiff had already threatened to repossess the car several times before I'd ever missed a payment on the car.
Because you made a partial payment once in June.
Yeah, and also...
But then made it up again within 2 weeks.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so you had already said to him, you missed payments, I'm going to repossess the car.
I informed, I didn't threaten to repossess it.
No.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so you missed a payment on July 15th.
Yes, and I informed him when I missed the payment that the reason for missing it, he had just filed for bankruptcy, and with his bankruptcy and the threats to repossess the car, I had decided that I wanted to miss, as it states in the contract, that I could miss 2 consecutive payments before repossession. I wanted to talk to a lawyer and make sure that I wasn't going to be putting even more money into a car that
That you weren't going to have equity in.
Exactly.
Okay, so that's why you missed July 15th.
Yes, that's
Okay,
correct.
and it's the 29th of July, also missed.
Yes. So I attempted to give Mr. Pickett a $500 payment on the 29th. He refused to accept that payment, and I have that in text.
I'd like to see it.
Text messages.
I'd like to see it. Do you acknowledge that he attempted to give you a payment on the 29th?
Yeah, he attempted to make a partial payment.
He attempted to give you $500.
Correct.
And tell me why you didn't accept the $500. He missed the payment on the 15th.
I informed him on the 16th that I would not accept a late payment unless it's in conjunction with the current payment.
You can't change the contract, sir. You can't change a written contract. There was a loan on this car.
Yeah, there's a title loan on it.
Oh, you didn't tell me that. That adds a different wrinkle to this whole thing because he told me you paid cash for the car, so I assume there was not a problem.
William Pickett claims his former friend, Clinton Gick, owes for car payments and vehicle damage. Clinton is countersuing, claiming Williams sold the car under false pretenses.
Now, you had a written contract with him. If you're changing the terms, he has to agree to the terms in writing in the same force and manner of the original contract, which is this in writing signed by both parties. You have a contract here. The contract says he can't miss 2 consecutive payments. He wasn't missing 2 consecutive payments. He missed July 15th, and he tried to give you one on the 29th of July. If you refuse to accept it, he hasn't missed 2 payments. You refuse to accept the second one. Got it?
Got it.
Okay, well, I see the interchange, Mr. Pickett, and the interchange clearly says you're paying your $1,000 today or returning my car. He says, I'll be giving you my $500 payment that's due today. Then you changed the contract and you said, not acceptable. You're behind $500 and a late payment will only be acceptable with a current payment. Is there anything about that in your contract?
There's not.
Okay, so if it's not in your contract, it doesn't exist, and you had so far no reason to repossess the car. Did he try to make a payment to you in August?
I think one other time between the time I repossessed it.
Okay, well, you had no reason to repossess it so far unless he missed 2 consecutive payments or unless he failed to keep insurance. Did he fail to keep insurance?
I have never been given proof of insurance.
This doesn't require that you are given proof of insurance.
Or not.
This doesn't say you require proof. Did you have insurance on the car?
Yes, I did, Your Honor.
Through whom?
Erie Insurance Agency.
Okay, and you have no information to the contrary?
I don't.
Okay, fine. So at the time you repossessed the car so far, Mr. Pickett, you didn't have basis under your contract to repossess the car.
There was also other terms that I believe he had violated.
Well, let's hear them. So far, he didn't miss 2 consecutive payments. Had you filed for bankruptcy?
I had started filing for bankruptcy, yeah.
Is that completed?
Still hasn't been discharged yet. I think I have another month or so.
Was this the first time you filed for bankruptcy? Yes, buyer misses 2 or more consecutive payments. Buyer fails to maintain full coverage under insurance. Any significant damage to the vehicle that is not repaired in 30 days. Did you notify Mr. Glick of any damage to the car? Give him notice and say, pursuant to the contract, it has to be fixed in 30 days?
We had talked about it when he came to drop off one of his payments, and he said...
Well, give me a month.
It was...
A month and a year.
It was in June.
June of 2022, he came over to drop off a payment, and that would have either been on June 3rd or June 17th. Correct. Okay, and tell me about the conversation.
I said, hey, there's a dent in the front now. He said he'll get taken care of. At that point, I didn't really inspect the car because...
I don't care what you didn't do. Yeah. I want to know what you did.
Yeah, I told him, it needs to be fixed. And he said he'll get taken care of.
Okay, and?
When I repossessed it, it was still there, as well as more damage.
Okay. Did he talk to you about the dent in the front?
I don't recall that conversation ever happening. There was text messages sent to me about damage to the car. The car had dents and dings all over it when I got the car. I mean, the front bumper even had significant damage to it.
You repossessed the car at the end of August. Where is the car now?
At my house.
What's it doing at your house?
I was just sitting there for the moment.
Well, what's your intention to do with the car?
Give it up in my bankruptcy or repair it and keep it and pay it off.
Who has the title?
The title loan company.
So there was a loan on this car?
Yeah, there's a title loan on it.
Oh, you didn't tell me that. That adds a different wrinkle to this whole thing, because you told me you paid cash for the car, so I assume there was not a problem. When did you take out a title loan on the car?
I took out the title loan.
Month and year?
One of them was in December of 21.
Did you know that there was a title loan taken out on this car?
I knew that there was one. I didn't know that there were multiple. I don't know if, but yeah, I did know there was a title loan.
Did you know in what amount?
No, I was never.
Well, that's pretty dumb of you.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, because if you're buying something free and clear that he owes nothing on, that's one thing. How much was the title loan?
Roughly $6,000 is what was owed on it still at that point when he bought it.
How much did you pay off?
A few thousand by that point. It's super high interest.
Okie dokie. Mr. Pickett, your claim against the defendant is dismissed. I'm now entertaining his counterclaim. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
You get stuck with this car. Now, problem is, you drove this car.
Yes.
Was it your primary source of driving the car?
Yes, it was.
Okay. For 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 months. Right?
Yes.
Okay, so, Mr. Glick, this was your primary vehicle. How much do you think it would cost you to rent a car per month? Per month. Give me a figure.
To rent a car?
Yeah.
Per month, I would say $900 a month, probably something like that. $900,000 a month, maybe.
Okay. Based upon what you told me, it's not so egregious because you had the use of the car for 10 months. I actually don't think that an 11-year-old car would cost that much to rent. $900 a month, considering that you also paid for your own insurance.
Correct.
And if you rented a car, that the insurance would, of necessity, come with a car. Sarah, could you look up for me best deals on leasing a Dodge Charger? I don't know what that is. Is that a truck?
It's a car.
Is there a site where you could look that up?
I'll see what I could find.
But the intention was that money was going to go towards, something that I would own.
Well, I understand that,
right.
but you had full use of his property for 10 months.
Sure.
You don't think it's fair for you not to pay for some of that use?
I would think the depreciation in the car for the mileage that I put on it would be more than fair. Absolutely.
Everything depends on how much you put down versus how much you pay monthly, so there's a wide range.
Give me the range. He didn't put anything.
$786 a month, $843 a month, but these are for brand new Dodge Chargers, not for 2012.
Oh.
So.
Okay. And according to you, the current low price on this car is $7,500 price.
For a private party.
For a private party, low price, $7,500.
Yes.
So you're going to resell this car, and the car is currently in working order, and the low price on that car is $7,500, right?
Yes.
And he's already paid you $5,000.
Yes.
In order to break even, if you sold that car, all you need is $2,500.
Correct.
So I think that it's more than fair to give you credit for the $2,500 from what you paid.
Okay.
You paid $5,000. Half of that seems to be a more than reasonable figure to have full use of his property, and he repossessed the car. I don't think he had any basis to repossess the car, which is why he dismissed his case. And you certainly don't want to get involved with bankruptcies and payments, so you don't want this car back, because getting this car back will be more trouble for you than anything else.
Exactly.
I absolutely understand that, because then you're dealing with his creditors and whatever. I'm not trusting that whole situation. In any event, I don't think that you paying $2,500 towards the rental of the car over a 10-month period is unreasonable. And then he's whole. Then if he wants to spend money to have the car spruced up before he sells it, well, maybe he can get $8,500 for it, and then he's whole. So now everybody's happy. Judgment on the counterclaim for $2,500. We're finished. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Honor.
This court is adjourned.
I'm very happy.
Need a car, I had a car.
I don't think it was an honest transaction on his part.
I'll keep buying and selling.
So yeah, I think he was just trying to get a quick payday.
So I just want to make sure I have this right. The defendant was paying the plaintiff $1,000 a month towards the vehicle that the plaintiff had a title loan out on, but instead of paying off the title loan so the defendant would have the car free and clear,
right,
he decided to keep the payments and not pay off the title
loan. Correct. Which means that even after he completed the payments, which he was halfway finished with, he could not have gotten clear title.
Yeah.
Because the title is with the loan company. And he's filed for bankruptcy, so you can't come against him. Slick.
Yeah, sticky situation.
Yeah.
Want justice? Go to judyjustice.tv.